could say it, bro.
It is.
It feels amazing. Anyone who's knocked on a door, anyone who's sent a DM, anyone who's been on the phone, banging on those numbers, banging on those doors, making those calls and hearing no, 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 no. When you get a yes, it could be one yes that could change the entire game.
No, fact.
One yes.
Fact. And with him, that's kind of how it was. He responded, and he was like, hey, bro, send me something. I sent him a record called Chains, and he was like, bro, this record's incredible.
My favorite record, by the way.
Appreciate that, bro. It's funny because with that record, I wasn't even trying to write that for him or anybody else. I was just venting.
Oh, did you write his verse too?
No, he wrote his own verse.
Oh, I was gonna
he
say,
wrote his own
okay,
verse.
okay.
But I'm saying like I sent him the original, my verse and the chorus.
Got it.
And I wrote that record for myself, just venting.
Amazing record.
And then it's just crazy how when you're just working and just married to the work,
yeah.
How like when you're not so result driven, how just things naturally, organically kind of take place.
It's real artistry.
Literally. And then he heard, he's like, bro, this is the one right here. I was like, really? I was like, I thought it was cool, and he's like, nah. And he's like, I'm gonna come out to Cali, bro. We'll shoot this video. I'm like, what do you mean?
Where's home base for him?
He at the time he was in New Orleans at that time.
Copy.
So he came out to Cali. Shot the video in Pomona. Everybody came out. It was just a
shout out
moment.
Pomona, Ignatius repping super hard for the town of Pomona, the land.
Yes, the land.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was one of the big moments. And yeah, that was one of the big moments. Another moment where I did a record showcase thing, and then there was an A&R that was there, and he liked what I had to offer. He's like, bro, you're fire. And he sent me some records to write for other people, and he liked those too. And then they flew me out to a camp in Vermont, a writing camp. And then
love it.
We wrote for this artist, and then one of the records came out.
Cool experience?
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely a learning experience. I never written with other people before, so it was interesting. But it was definitely like life-changing, I would say, because the relationships I got from that I still have to this day. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, communication. So obviously you're an artist. You try to communicate. You focus on your art, right? You're a faith-based person, but you have soul. You have hip hop in there.
Yeah.
You have a lot of different genres that you incorporate into your music. But tell me how you express yourself. It could be through your music, obviously, and then also in your personal life or when you're out, when you're communicating with, reps for labels or whatever at shows, etc. A communication tip that maybe for a brand new artist or even somebody that's more experienced in the game, something that, has worked for you.
So like a tip, you say?
Yeah, just like your process to communicate. So when you talk about networking, right? So like for me, when I go to a networking event, I'm trying to meet 3 people. Okay, I'm trying to meet someone who is above me or is on a higher rung. Maybe they run a fund, a $50 million fund, or they flipped maybe 1,000 houses, or they've raised capital in the sum of $50, $100 million, right? That's someone I'm looking for, and then I have looked for someone that's on my level, right? That has done essentially what I've done, or somewhere similar.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking for a cat that's up and coming that I could help.
Sure.
Like that's my approach to a networking event. I'm looking for 3 people that I could potentially help or learn something from and give something to.
Got you. Okay, I see that. Yeah, and I guess in terms of my approach, see, when I first started my career, I used to just look for features all the time. I'm like, okay, if I do a record with this person, then that's gonna elevate me to another height. I had this irrational kind of idea about like collaboration, and yeah, for sure. I've done records with different people, and some of those collabs were beneficial, but over time I started realizing that nah, bro, at the end of the day, you have to just honestly just come organic and just continue to build and build and build.
It's got to be you.
Build these logs, and it took me a couple years to really understand that. And as you build that, then things will organically come in place the way they're supposed to come. And
people can feel that energy, bro.
And the right people will come across too. Because sometimes I used to be reaching out, oh, they're hot. Let me try to do a record with them. And then a lot of times the situation didn't even really make sense, but I did it just because.
I think it may be, there's a spot for that, right? Like
there
got a guy like Drake who'll come on records. They said that's how he kept his career.
Yeah.
By essentially featuring other artists.
Yeah.
But he also had his own base.
Yeah.
But he had them logs, and depending on how you feel about Drake, whatever. But the point is that I think, there's space for that.
Yeah.
There's space for that.
But
in the end, you're saying the long game is, look, there's no fast tracking this.
Yeah.
I need to essentially make sure that I'm focusing on my music and building. And then if those opportunities come along, then I'll look at them, but in a different light.
Yeah. And of course I still reach out for features and things like that, but it has to make sense. And I realize if my soul doesn't feel it, because some things in this music industry, like different things are thrown at you all the time, and it's just like you can tell which things are for you.
You never been one of them P Diddy parties, have you?
Oh, nah, I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool, bro. Nah, not once, not I, not I, man. But nah, I was saying like you can continue to like how I word it. You can still reach out to and do these things, but you can tell when your soul's being violated.
Yeah.
You can tell when it's like this is not for me. This is not for me. It doesn't even have to be something that's necessarily like crazy out of bounds. It's just something that you know is not for you, but
it doesn't align.
But you're going forward with it because you think the opportunity is so big.
Yeah.
You think it's worth it, but it's just like a lot of times it's usually not what you think it is, and you find out the hard way.
So your communication is like essentially you reach out to people. You obviously are focused on your music.
Yeah.
But you're really selective about
for sure
who you're essentially working with
for
now.
Sure, it has to be. Yeah, everything has to make sense, especially now. Like I'm not like a 19-year-old coming out the game. Like everything has to make sense now.
But as far as on the communication level, so when you're sending DMs, you're using obviously your social media platforms, which we're going to post at the bottom in the description.
For sure.
All of Ignatius's social media platforms. Are you reaching out via DM, trying to get directly to the artist, trying to get directly to the manager, doing some of both, trying to get emails?
Yeah.
Do you have people on your team helping you with that? Is that mostly you because then it's more authentic?
It's mostly me because it's like I can say what I want to say better than anybody else.
Yeah.
can say. That's kind of how I see it.
Right.
You know, of course it looks good when you have somebody else representing you, and I have people who help me with that as well. But for the most part, I usually reach out myself.
Love it.
And I want to build as many skills as I possibly can. I want to be able to do everything, you know. And that's the beauty about being an independent artist. It forces you to wear every single hat.
Sure.
And now
it's like being in a startup.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's why I
don't have a choice.
By the way, this is the first guest that I've had on the Skip the Lines podcast. Download the Skip the Lines podcast. That is not real estate or stock or financially based.
Yeah.
And we're going to have other types of guests because it is about skipping the lines and ways that people can learn to skip the lines and hack into essentially what they're doing. And I'm stoked to have Ignatius here once again. So let's talk about understanding. So one thing you wish you had understood early in your career when you first got started, could have been in life, could have been as a kid, could have been when you got started in your career, that you wish that you know now?
Sheesh, that's a great question, dog. It's a simple question, but it's great. It's really great, bro. One thing that I wish I did differently in my career, I kind of mentioned it earlier in terms of just reaching out for features and things like that, kind of with just the intention of just kind of blowing up, I guess you could say. I regret a lot of those, but without those situations, I wouldn't learn everything I learned. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what I would say. It's career-wise, and just and it's really believing in what I've been building. You know what I mean? Like believing in the training and believing in for sure. You know
that I'm actually gonna make it.
Yeah.
So that's so similar to being an entrepreneur. In a way, you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
As an artist, I mean, the startup and the entrepreneur journey runs so parallel to being an independent artist. Because you feel like you're alone sometimes.
Yeah.
Often. Yeah, you have the one who has to be delusional that I have what it takes to make it when people are looking at you like, hey, dog, you ain't gonna make it.
Super delusional.
You have to be faith. You have to have faith that you're gonna make it. You gotta work super hard with very, very small results.
Yeah.
You gotta ride the wave of up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, because you could be riding high one day and then the next day you're not. And then there can be, that day can turn into a week and a month and a year and 2 years and 5 years. But at the end of the day, the cats who make it never give up.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I think that you're getting to, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Ignatius, but the making it thing also starts to adjust. Maybe blowing up doesn't become the actual goal anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a level of, hey, I'm cool with this if I can hold on to my soul and I can touch some people. Obviously, there's a financial incentive to doing this. You want to make sure that you're taking care of your family and being able to give and be a vessel. But
for sure,
that maybe, you know, being the biggest artist in the world. And I'm not putting words in your mouth.
No, for sure.
But your paradigm shifts. My last company, I wanted to be the biggest, baddest company in the whole country.
Yeah.
This company, I don't want to do that. I learned bigger is more. More money, more problems, man.
100%.
And you got more responsibility. You got less time. You got, you know, where's the money enough?
Yeah.
Where I can never sit and kick it and watch Netflix with the old lady.
For sure.
You know what I mean? No. Wifey.
You're on point. No, you're on point, bro. Everything you say is on point. For sure. I think for me, it's like, my aspiration to quote unquote blow up is like different than I guess your typical artist. I want to blow up in the sense of like, because I know what I have to offer, and I know what message I have, and I know so many people could benefit from that message, you know. And I know the amount of people I could really touch, you know.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, for me personally, that song, it really touched me. I was going through a rough time, and you and I didn't even really get into it. We got into it a little bit, but I was going through a tough time in my life.
Chains.
Bro, that record, I'm telling you, man, that touched my life, man. I texted you about it after, and I told you that, but I meant it, bro. That really touched my heart. And that's powerful stuff, bro.
It came from a real place, bro.
Man.
It was a crazy time in my life.
I sent it to all my buddies. Yeah, bro.
No, that record is my highest stream record right now.
And you're also putting out new music every other week?
Yeah, every other week.
Love it.